double pocketed from the Mercy and Zen. Keeps us up, but we go back in. Something like that could be the... Yes, sir. From a strong position, we can double down. But the issue is you're either rushing or you're too late to these moments because you're not taking the time to posture and figure out what the fight actually looks like. We are here on Dorado with Eladrin, who's playing in Gold 1, playing some Pharah, it looks like, playing DPS in Gold 1 on PC, who says, I played really well, but this is by no means an ego VOD, good to know. Or a stomp. Everyone played really well in this game, mainly looking at my positioning and stuff to improve on. There are, of course, a few oof moments, can't wait to see those. Wouldn't be a gold game without them. Also, the match started rough for me, then stuff just started clicking. Alright, let's get right into it. Pharah's an interesting hero to talk about. Obviously, she's got very unique positioning options, so let's see what we see. Alrighty, I like the initial position just because we can get some early pressure, and it's obviously a unique angle from anywhere our team is playing on the high ground, although with our Ashe going down to a Bastion, where even was the Ashe? Backing up here, they do have Mercy Echo, who does beat us air to air if she's able to land her cooldowns, but we have much more consistent value as Pharah, so we can use our range safely, no projectile fall off, easy splash damage. We're already halfway to our ultimate, guys. I'm assuming we meant to boop ourselves back a little bit there away from the Echo. Maybe a little bit more control here. This pillar right here is Pharah's playground, by the way. On defense, you want to play this pillar, and you can even wrap around to the enemy side. Ooh, but this is very open space. Very scary. Double pocketed from the Mercy and Zen. Keeps us up, but we go back in. Very, very aggressive there. Usually on a character like Pharah, since we need such consistent value, the only times we're going really aggressive is if we are trying to do like a one-shot combo or going for a really aggressive barrage play. If we are not comfortable where we are, don't be afraid to take yourself all the way out of the fight, just like you did away from that Echo initially, and then slowly work your way back in based around the damage you're finding or around how your team is playing there. Like this angle. Ooh, almost got another direct on that Echo. Again, this church here right to your left is going to be your playground. Even in the air, we need to think about natural cover, especially against hit scan members like this Bastion. Bastion not our biggest fear, and since we have a pocket, we can probably sustain his damage pretty easily. But yeah, would love to see you playing further up top left, not only because it's more natural cover, it's easier for your Mercy to play, and it's easier for you to get aggressive. You can slide over on the other side of the roof, drop behind them for barrage. Looks like you're going to be thinking about doing something on this side as well. Get some easy shots on the Bastion, but that damage reduction and the Mercy pocket will keep him up. The worry about this side, obviously, is it's hard to pull back from, but you have to go through this open space here. And I've just not stopped talking since this VOD started. I like that you got the classic Pharah trick of shooting the rocket off before going for barrage. Good timing, big grouped up members. And this elo, not to try and roast you for your elo or anything, but it's very common for enemies to group up like that, so very easy value from barrage plays from the Pharah. You are just invisible to them because they don't know how to look up, and you capitalize on that really well. Again, though, for neutrals, neutral meaning just like when we're not pushing a huge advantage or we're not using an ultimate or something like that, when we're just playing normally, I want to see you playing a little bit closer to your natural cover on the left. We don't need to get a huge aggressive angle here. All we need to do is just get over the Rhine shield, basically, and we should be getting very consistent amount of damage. We could even just use this platform until the Echo tries to push us away, because saves our jets. It's very easy to manage. Although you've been doing a pretty good job managing your jets. You're doing better than I do on Pharah, to be honest. Nice. I like that you were looking for the conch mine there to try and disrupt Rhine into the Diva Bomb, but because of his position, he wasn't really relevant. I would have rather see you boop the people who were running away back to their spawn back into the Diva Bomb if you could have. Overall, we're finding just a bunch of value basically for free just by the nature of being Pharah. And you can see how the enemy team is basically ignoring us. Even though they're playing a hero that I would say directly counters us in the Echo Mercy, they're not being aggressive towards us. We're basically going ignored. So in order to maximize your value in these kinds of situations, I want to see you in smarter, again, neutral positions. Not so that you're going to get more value right away, but so that you can get aggressive faster. This is a bit aggressive in a barrage. What I don't like about this barrage is the fact that you were already in that aggressive position, and it wasn't like surprising them when you started hitting the barrage. They already knew where you were. You were already in range to take a lot of damage from them, and then we pull the barrage anyway. So if we're front loading our barrage instead of that, so if we're surprising them going all the way in right away, barrage out of nowhere, kind of like our previous one, it's a lot harder for them to react. And so we want our biggest, most bursty, heavy damage, anytime we've got like a big cooldown or a big ultimate like that, to be what catches them off guard. Where in that situation, it was more just our initial position they were already reacting to. We didn't change anything up before we barraged. I know you were trying to punish the res and stuff like that, but unfortunately we were just a little bit too late to do that. I don't like this position here. I don't see why not. We just go take left side, especially if we have Mercy playing with us, and just go around, get past that Rhine shield. Again, the only thing we're worried about here, it's not even a D.Va defense matrix flying at us. It's a very rigid defensive wall that he puts up, and we just need to find creative ways to get around that. I know it's harder on third point here because it's closed off, but this is exactly what I wanted. Just a little bit too late. Now, because we were out here so late, they're able to push past us initially. This is where we need to be the moment our heads, sorry, the heads of our tanks are butting against each other, because that's where the most amount of pressure is going to start in these team fights. Okay, flying directly over them. Again, a little bit scary, but this Echo, it just doesn't even know we exist. So, I mean, we'll take it, but it's very risky what we're doing here. Good pressure behind them. Distracting them from where they're pushing. Again, this is a good angle to be taking, but it's a little bit too late into the fight because they've already killed half of our team, right? And now we're becoming the only person getting focused. We don't have our Mercy Pocket with us anymore. So we want to be able to hit those aggressive angles the moment we recognize something's being committed in the front line. The moment they start pushing forward, the moment our team starts pushing into them, we're immediately in that aggressive position. And it's not that you're not looking for the right positions or the right type of aggression. It's that you are too busy doing other things that are taking away from your availability to react to those moments. So we want to be really quick to see those moments happen, and until they happen, we want to be saving everything we can to burst into those moments as quickly as possible. The word I use for this as a coach is posturing. We want to posture very aggressively. So again, think like staying up here, but before we drop down or get behind them and go for a barrage like over here, we need to see something big happen. I'll use the example over here as one because it was so clearly missed. Before we go crazy aggressive and like end up over here, we want to be posturing over here, poking them a little bit. And then when we recognize, oh, they're looking forward, they're ignoring me, now I go more aggressive. Now I drop in behind them and get the ball rolling. All right, we're on the attack. I like the long range. Again, very safe, even though they are still on the hit scan Bastion. Bastion's probably the weakest hit scan in the game to deal with a Pharah, to be honest. His damage is not strong enough, and his turret form spreads way too much to deal with Pharah in the air. But we have no reason to fear damage at this range against any hit scan member, especially with a Mercy Pocket, because our projectiles have no fall-off range, whereas hit scan bullets do. So we're chilling. I like that we're taking this angle. This is exactly what posturing looks like. Again, we're not committing. I think we could have stayed there, honestly. Zarya's not really a threat to us. Again, those members in the back. And we still have our Mercy there. Don't be afraid to keep space if it's still free. In order to determine if space is still free, I guess I can go into that. We want to ask ourselves, what are our specific threats? What bad things are going to happen to us in our current position? Now, if they're playing like Widowmaker, or they're playing D.Va and D.Va can fly up to us, those are very real threats. But if there's nothing like that on the enemy team, this is a bit aggressive. Oh, okay, we just barely lose the duel, but yeah. Bastion becomes a lot more relevant at close range, huh? So, before we go aggressive like that, again, we need a trigger. And in this case, we had lost our Mercy. I think she fell off the map, unfortunately. And we didn't really see how our team was taking attention. So, even though it was ending up as a 1v1 versus the Bastion, we didn't see him use a cooldown. We didn't see him at low HP or anything like that. We just saw him and we wanted to go aggressive. This is much better. Again, you're getting that kill just from your posturing position. That's not an all-in position. That's kind of just like your mid-range, I could go in or I could fall back position. And that's where I want you 90% of the game. Here, again, back to the front line, we take a lot more pressure, so I'd rather see you on more unique angles. We have so much aerial mobility, we should be raining down on them. Again, imagine if we had postured before this moment. We weren't in a position to really threaten anything other than the front line, which, again, not unique, not that valuable if we're only hitting a tank. And then we walked, well, not walked, we flew slowly towards the fight, so that by the time we were putting our barrage out, they already saw us, they already knew what we were capable of, and we didn't really catch anyone off guard. And in addition to that, even though we were making a big play, we didn't see any reason why the characters in front of us would be vulnerable to that play. We saw one bubble from the Zarya, but we didn't see our team actively really pushing. We didn't see any other defensive cooldowns done from their supports or things like that. We do clean them up because they overextend a little bit. They stay a little bit too long here. But yeah, These mid-fight aggressions are good, and I like that you're looking for them because that's a big part of Pharah's playstyle, right? You need to get aggressive. You need to get in their face sometimes. You need to go for those mid-fight barrages. But if we're only thinking about that, and again, in a position like this is a little risky until we see them commit. Now, again, as it turns out, they're literally just ignoring you. You have your Cloak of Invisibility on right now. They don't know you exist, and you're just raining down damage. But if they don't ignore us, that's the fear. And so again, I'll pull back to that Bastion example where he had nothing else he was doing. So it was very easy for him to just, okay, whip out the turret form, kill the Pharah. And in ranges like this, even people like Zarya, even Symmetra technically, would be able to duel us if they just put more pressure into us. Even Moira could apply some pressure to us. So I'd rather see you in more of these mid to longer ranges. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Getting that early damage in, farming that ultimate. If you're lucky, you'll force some cooldowns, you'll force them to back off. But it's not about getting a kill right away. The time at which you'll find an opportunity to go for a kill isn't always up to you. And if we act like it's all 100% in our control when this is a 5v5 team game, then we will force situations and get caught off guard by more things. I love this aggressive posturing. Again, I don't want to see you falling onto the back line until we see some aggressive movements coming in from our team. We get a kill on their Echo. That's a decent reason to start going in. That's a big macro advantage. We're now 5v4. But even still, we're patient. This is what I mean by a surprise play with Barrage, right? Even though they're reacting to you, look how slow they are. We didn't even have a mercy pocket for that play, and we get out alive. That was great timing. Again, ways we can make that more consistent is to understand what exactly we're looking for there. It's not just the targets. It's the targets that are distracted. And if we detach our brain from looking for targets we want to barrage to looking for things that's going to distract our targets, aka our team most of the time, then we'll be able to read that situation more clearly. Very open space here. Again, we can be using longer ranges. We could be playing a more mid-range to long-range posturing phase before going all in. We do see Bastion a little bit out of position and without his turret form, so I could see that push being valuable, and it does get him out of the way at the very least. Here we're going for the 1v1 versus Echo. Oh. Ooh, okay, we're living at least. We got the Mercy Pocket. Yeah, keep this high ground, keep this natural cover. Wait for your team here. Keep poking, absolutely. I should be hiding my chat, shouldn't I? Keep poking, absolutely. Build up that ult charge. Burn all their defensive resources. Make Moira use all her juice. Make her fade away. Break Ryan's shield. But before we go all in, wait for something a little bit more. Or sometimes something will come to you and Bastion will just gift you his life for free. The power of posturing, guys. Nice reaction. A little bit too slow. I think we were too focused on waiting for a reload, thinking about rockets. That's okay. We should be able to kill this Bastion again anyway. Yeah, there we go. Again, this is a great timing based on how the tanks are hitting each other. See that moment? How the tanks are keeping each other busy? That means that our team is being relevant, meaning we're not 1v5ing, and it means the enemy team is occupied. They're busy thinking about something else. It's a lot harder for them to address a new problem like Pharah in their face. Good stuff. Again, though, I'm not sure that's a conscious decision we're making. It might be just something we're falling into and happening upon, which is not going to be as consistent. Again, here we're ignoring a lot to make this play happen. This isn't, as it turns out, an okay time to posture from that angle, but we gotta just give it up anyway. If I would have liked to see you play that longer range angle, just, again, shoot some rockets down behind them, make them maybe turn and back up, make them waste some cooldowns, and then you stay available to act defensively. You can always back away. You can even go down to the Mega if you need to. But before we go all in like this, before we get in their face and try to win these duels, nice shot. Before we do that, though, make it more consistent by getting more attention spent elsewhere. Really nice directs here, and the attack visor just cleans them all up. This should be us finishing the map if we get some early pressure. Ooh, yeah, get away from that mini pack, Reinhardt. No healing for you. They do have a few ultimates. All right, we know that. Oh, I was gonna say, do we know the Dorado spot? The spot right above the door they're coming out? You can, like, slide on that to keep yourself in the air for a little bit longer. Again, this is great. I don't know if it's necessary because we're not going to get behind their spawn room. We do find two with the barrage. Okay. Again, a little bit worrisome, though. If they had more people alive, maybe they'd be able to deal with that. I also don't think it was necessary there. Again, look for ways to catch them off guard. Be something a little bit extra that overwhelms them rather than just in their face all the time. Overall, you're doing a lot just by being Pharah. but I don't think you're maximizing Pharah's playstyle or her kit to find the most consistent value. Let's see how we do in overtime rounds. All right, overtime attack here. We've only got a minute. Pharah's usually a great overtime hero, but now they're on double hit scan with Cass and Baptiste. Huge boop. And again, from this relatively safe position, you're able to find value, but we're not so all in that we can't back up. Oh my goodness, the directs. We're killing everyone. It's a massacre. All right, well, that's one way to push through first choke. If they're all dead, they can't hold the payload, I guess, huh? They're swapping over to the Pharah. They want the mid-air duel. That's very not recommended with the heroes they currently have, but you know what? We'll let them play the heroes they want whenever they want, I suppose. Close for the direct. I'm not too worried about air-to-air mechanics. You're doing good shots on the ground, and obviously this is a very niche situation you're finding yourself in. And hey, if you didn't know, Discord to target plus Mercy Blue Beam means one shot on a 200 HP hero. Well done. So here's a tip for anytime you find yourself in a Pharah duel. If you're not 100% confident, or maybe not even 100%, if you're not like 70, 60% confident that you're going to win the Pharah duel, the Pharah that wins the duel is the Pharah that doesn't die and kills the enemy team. Even if you're not able to kill the enemy Pharah, if you just apply more pressure to the enemy team, and the enemy Pharah is still trying to kill you and still missing all of her shots, then you're just going to win that team fight, even if the enemy Pharah lives the entire time. Another thing that you can possibly do is do more damage to your team that distracts their Mercy and they try to heal their teammates. They leave their Pharah, and then you... Oh, we see 9? That's unfortunate, dude. But yeah, if you distract their Mercy by getting their teammates low and making the Mercy fall back, then you have an easier time dueling the Pharah as well. Other small Pharah tip, you always, almost always, want to be above your target, not only because it's harder to aim up, usually, and you're more used to aiming down as Pharah, but because if you miss, your rockets might actually still do something. You might have some, like, collateral damage down on the ground. Alright, defense time. Same position here. I would like to see you keep it for longer unless you get pushed out. Again, don't give up spaces for free unless they're committing something to make us move. Something like that could be the... Yes, sir! She's just gonna get rezzed. Or is she? No, you're here camping the res. Nice job. Oh, we're hunting for another Pharah. Oh, this time we come up short. They get the double direct. Again, we don't need to force this aggressive play unless we know we have an advantage. So even posturing in the Pharah duel, don't get that close unless maybe you've already hit a direct. I know you had the advantage if she didn't have a Mercy pocket, but as it turns out, that wasn't enough here. That's not the hero I want to spectate. My bad. Alright, coming back in here, looking at the Pharah. We've got very good progress here, even if we did C9. 1. 1.5, 2, let's go! We're in very open space, though. Good movement. This pillar, again, your best friend. I know you're thinking about stopping the res, but don't make it cost your life. Oh, we're one shot. Oh, it's so scary. And we're going down. A lot of this time... Oh, are we going down? 25 HP? Okay. A lot of that time, you could have easily just backed off. Again, forcing res, that's taking a lot of time away from damage the enemy Pharah is doing because she's dead. And it's a lot of damage you could be doing into the enemy team. Then even if Mercy goes back for the res, maybe you do enough damage to find another kill. And then you go back to dueling the Pharah after. Don't need to lock yourself into those engagements for so long. Be a little bit more flexible. And again, that ties in a little bit to posturing. As soon as you finish your objective, you take your position, you find your kill, you find it again. Then you're right back to the posturing phase. Right back to having a strong position, staying individually safe so that you don't get punished, and then being ready to go aggressive if it makes sense to. But right now you're rushing straight to aggressive. Okay, I gotta kill. Aggressive. Okay, I gotta kill. Aggressive. Okay, I'm going for barrage. Oh, I'm dead. It's too late. Good pressure here. Again, we got the bell tower to our right. If we're not using it to dodge shots, we can also be using it as a way to concussive mine ourselves away back to safety. They're on the Echo now, but as we saw, the Echo didn't do a great job. Again, very aggressive here. And we could have very easily just been following our Zarya grab. we are finding damage later on, but look how much damage we took. It's so many things could go wrong there, right? Very easily could have just gotten killed. You say in chat, I knew the Echo didn't have shift. That's good enough if she's in a vulnerable position, but you see how far forward we had to push ourselves there through choke points, use all of our cooldowns. We ended up losing our mercy. If we just take a little bit of extra damage there, it's so risky. All right, we fly away from the grab to safety. Good. Again, we are ending up a little bit low to the ground here, which is good if we're finishing kills, like getting the last shot just to guarantee damage, and then maybe we fly away. But I don't want to see you hovering this close to the ground. No reason to not use your range. Use the fact that your projectile doesn't have fall-up distance and all that kind of good stuff. Not that it matters. Obviously, we should be winning this fight. Hope I'm not caster cursing you. Yeah, we should be fine. Yeah, we're chilling. Easy money. All right. You usually start in strong position. So yeah, okay. Talking about positions. Even in midair, we need good natural cover, right? So again, looking at this first point when we're on defense, this is great natural cover. We can spam here. We can go aggressive, but again, the idea of having natural cover with your position is that you can always back up into it. So if we're spamming around here down main and then we get shot at, we go down to 5 HP, we just drop back here, or even drop down vertically, and then all those threats on the ground are no longer a problem. We get healed up, we retake the space. But if we're in open space, like even just a position like this, or like worst case scenario, we're directly above them, then if we take a bunch of damage, how do we react? Where do we go? What are we supposed to rely on, right? So even if like in a situation like this, again, even if we can't back up into natural cover, you were shooting above them right here, even if like backing up here doesn't keep you safe, at least having a wall next to you, you can conk mine away and maybe get some distance, maybe cut the angle this way, maybe even go over the roof here. So again, look for these options. Dorado's a fantastic map for Pharah, especially on defense in my opinion, as well, with all these tall structures. You can imagine things like Icon Wall first point as well, that big tower, lots of things on, say, like Rialto first point with those buildings and stuff like that. Use these rooftops as much as you can. We grazed them a little bit on our attack around here where we were kind of peeking over them, but we never actually used them as natural cover. So again, if we're like posturing up here, we're taking some shots. If something goes wrong, we can back up. But then the best part about posturing, and the part you want to be doing, and the part you were kind of skipping the posturing phase and jumping to anyway, is that from a strong position, we can double down. If we see us hit a direct, we get a kill. If we see our Rhine pushing in and shattering, or we had Zarya this time, we hit a grab, then we know there's a big advantage. There's something big happening that we want to be a part of, and then the moment that happens, we go from posturing to execution mode. We just go straight in, we find all the kills, we get the most amount of value we possibly can. Of course, we still play safe around natural cover when we can, like maybe we keep this high ground instead of just dropping on the ground and stuff like that. But that's when we get the most aggressive. I can tell you want to be really aggressive on the Pharah. I can tell you want to go for really aggressive angles like this behind them and things like that. And you want to hit angles like this. But the issue is you're either rushing or you're too late to these moments because you're not taking the time to posture and figure out what the fight actually looks like. So slow down your play a little bit on the Pharah. Look for these moments where, okay, I'm not actively being the most aggressive currently. Try to figure out when that moment's going to come next. When the next peak of our play is required. And again, I'll use this as an example over here. It's going to be when the enemy's the most distracted or the busiest with whatever they are doing elsewhere on the map. So here, you know you're coming in behind them. What is the reason they're pushing forward? If they have no other reason, it's because they're pushing the payload or because they're fighting your tank. Those are the easy things to look for. Okay, they're all sitting on the objective. They're not going to expect me behind them. Okay, they're all fighting my tank, or they're using big abilities like ultimates, or my team's using big abilities like ultimates, and they're having to deal with all that chaos. Then you be the +1 to the wedding. Then you're this extra source of damage, extra chaos-causing damage dealer in their backline. It's not only more likely for you to find kills, because maybe they're already half HP, you can just finish them off, but you're going to be able to stay here for longer, allowing you to find more damage on more meaningful members, because you're not just dealing with a Reinhardt in your face, you're in that juicy backline area where all the squishies sit down. So that's the moment we're looking for as Pharah. And even though we're not like an assassin flanker like Genji in the backline, and we're not just like one and done in these moments, if we're posturing or if we're just playing aggressively for these types of angles, we need to know what lets us play in that angle. Because otherwise, if we just come here every single fight, we're not going to be ready for what if they turn around. So the more they're distracted, the less likely they are to turn around. And the best part about all this is that even if they turn around when they're dealing with something else, then they're ignoring your team. And then your team just tramples all over them. So those moments, you can call it synergy, you can call it team play, you can call it just flank timings, whatever you're looking for here. Whenever you're getting aggressive, whenever you're dropping down, going for those barrage plays, dropping down behind them, looking for direct, stuff like that, getting the most aggressive position you possibly can, figure out what's leading up to that moment. It's not just a big power spike, it's not just about hitting all your shots, it's about finding the opportunity to do the most possible. That's what we're looking for. Overall, again, I think you just were obviously the better flyer player in this game. The opposing Pharah and Echo, when they were playing it, did not find nearly as much value as you did. It helps that you had a Mercy Pocket full time, of course, but we can do more, or I shouldn't even say that we can do more, but we can find the value we found in this game more consistently and against better opponents if we time ourselves a little bit more cautiously. So that's what we're looking for. Thank you so much for the VOD. I hope that helps, and best of luck in your future games.